Republicans have a scheme that could remove American voters from the process of selecting their next president. You heard that right. A case headed to the Supreme Court could let Republican-controlled state legislatures overrule the will of the people and pick the next president of the United States without you.
A coming Supreme Court case that everybody really needs to be aware of is Harper v. Moore, which will take place either December or early next year. But it's basically surrounding independent state legislature theory, which essentially would give state legislatures absolute authority in deciding the outcomes of electoral college results, passing districting maps, passing much more stricter voter suppression laws, because judicial bodies would no longer have the authority to come in and basically regulate and monitor what state legislatures are doing, therefore creating a government of, for, and by politicians, which of course isn't conservative.
It took 4 Supreme Court justices to agree to take this case to get on the docket, which in itself is very scary. So we've got maps that are fair now, that could elect 7 Democrats and 7 Republicans. The Republican Speaker of the House challenged this ruling. State courts have no say, is what he's arguing. And the court's going to hear this case. If they agree with him, then state legislatures will be able to gerrymander the hell out of their states with no judicial oversight at all.
Given the fact that the Supreme Court is so leaning far to the right now, and also the fact that independent state legislature theory has been struck down by the Supreme Court many times in the past, this is something everybody needs to be paying attention to, especially during a time where the Republican Party is being completely taken over by the most extreme and the most further right elements that this country has to offer.
This all hinges on a radical idea called the independent state legislature theory. It's at the heart of a case the Supreme Court will decide called Moore versus Harper. The decision in this case could give state legislatures the power to disregard the popular vote and substitute their own slate of electors, pledged to whomever they wish. We've already had a preview of what this could mean for our democracy. The independent state legislature theory underpinned a major legal strategy in Trump's attempted coup.
Just look at one thing. The legislatures of the states did not approve all of the things that were done for those elections.
So the Moore v. Harper case stems back to February of 2022 when a jurisdictional body struck down an all Republican-controlled state assembly's attempt to pass a new gerrymandered district map, which was ruled to be too partisan. And actually, independent state legislature theory is what Jenny Thomas used in her attempts to convince state legislatures to overturn Joe Biden's electoral college results. So again, this is really the biggest issue with this theory, is it gives politicians the ability to decide the outcomes of elections completely and totally unfettered. And actually also a former federal judge and distinguished conservative jurist, his name is Michael Ludwig. He warned against independent state legislature theory. And as I said before, this is something that we've seen in the Supreme Court many times over the last century plus that's been struck down for good reason. Because again, this isn't a conservative principle if you're, really going by those principles. It's just an authoritative principle that basically removes the public even further from the election process and gives the political bodies within the state legislatures absolutely no oversight. So imagine a completely far right-wing body with even less oversight than they have now.
And under the Constitution of the United States, they have to do that.
Trump was wrong, of course, but the current Supreme Court could make him right. But the U.S. Constitution does not give state legislatures total power over our democracy. In fact, for the last century, the Supreme Court has repeatedly rejected the independent state legislature theory. Yet if we know anything about the conservative majority that now controls the Supreme Court, it's that they will rule on just about anything that suits the far right's agenda.
So as I mentioned several times, independent state legislature theory is something that's been struck down before by the Supreme Court. So we got Smiley v. Home in 1932, and before that, Davis v. Hildebrandt, 1916, Arizona Independent Redistricting Commission v. Arizona Legislature, 2015, and Rucco v. Common Cause, 2019. Now, the biggest difference between those times and now is the complete imbalance of the Supreme Court. So again, this is something that everybody needs to be made fully aware of, because as we talk about here all the time, is that the Republican Party's current approach absolutely robs them of their future. We see them, we've seen all the things that the Supreme Court has done, but specifically look what just happened with Lindsey Graham. He just proposed a 15-week abortion ban, a federal abortion ban across the board, and actually said that he doesn't think that this will hurt Republicans, despite the fact that the Roe reversal is literally tanking Republicans' chances, not just in the coming elections, but just to really have any type of a popularity or grasp on millennials, Gen Z, or the generations coming after that. They're that detached, but also that determined to get their agenda passed. So much so that they're literally going after a way to remove us from the democratic process completely. So again, I think this is one of the most important things happening right now that we all need to be made aware of, to spread the word on and to do everything that we can to stop this from happening.